Welcome back, everybody, to Tuesday Night Lights. If you were here for the last several Tuesday Night Lights, it's just been a week since I last saw you, but if you are here for the State of the SEL, it's been a minute since the last show. Last one we had was live in Huntsville, Alabama, the day before the Season 4 land. So, what is that? 3 months? 3 months and some change? So it's been a minute since I've hosted a State of the SEL. So today's show is going to be a very nice introduction back into the Southeastern Esports League season. And SJT, I saw your message in Twitch chat, and I'm a minute early, just for you. It's 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern, on the dot now, and I've already got the intro out of the way. So we're doing good on time tonight, which is very good, because we got a lot to talk about. And this season hasn't even started yet. Like, we're just in registration at the moment, in terms of, like, actual SEL season progression. But a lot of roster changes have happened. The Season 5 format has changed. We got to make sure everybody's actually getting registered, because I'm looking at the SEL page right now, and there are only 10 rosters. Actually, let me refresh the page, and then I'll make a claim as to how many rosters there are. Alright, now I don't even have... Alright, it logged me out, so I'm just gonna... I'll log back in while I'm talking. But the last time I checked earlier today, there were only 10 rosters signed up for the SEL. So everyone, if you're planning on competing, please make sure you get registered, and I'll go through those steps a little bit later in the show. And I know there are some bugs going on right now, so if you can't register because of those bugs, I won't hold it against you. But genuinely, for my selfish reasons, I want to be able to look at what teams and what rosters are signing up. Because, like, I know some of the roster changes, and I know some of the teams that are going to be competing in the SEL this season, but I don't know who for all teams. So, Albedo, okay, fair enough. You're trying to wait until the roster reveal goes out. That's fair. You can sign the team up, I think. Oh, well, actually, no, you can't. You have to have all 3 players before you're actually officially shown. So, never mind. And Joe, yeah, I'm not worried about you guys, Joe. I kind of know about the whole UTK situation when it comes to playing in the SEL. So, I won't hold it against you guys. But do make sure you get signed up, because this is supposed to be a big season of the SEL, and like we're sort of on track to hit our goal of 64 teams, but I don't know where we're gonna land when it comes to it. And like, it's fine if Division 2 doesn't have a full 48 teams, and if you don't know what I'm talking about with the format, you'll find out in a second. But I would love to hit that 64 team mark. That would just be an awesome expansion of the SEL, because we had 39 teams sign up for the spring semester, and that was our most ever. So adding 25 is a bit ambitious, but I think we can do it. And I also, amid welcoming all of you back, if you have not seen any of my announcements or tweets or anything like that, I do have a special guest tonight that I will be bringing on to discuss some everything on the list on that side of the screen. He'll be hopping in with me in a little bit, and I have to get his camera and all that set up, which is why I'm like stalling for time right now. But Mr. Dylan, former Bud, now Kennesaw State Owl, will be joining me in just a little bit. So I'm excited about that. We'll be going through everything on the list together. But how's everybody doing? Am I going to DreamHack, Joe? I absolutely am. I have not announced it yet publicly, which this will be on Twitter on Wednesday, but I'll be casting the DreamHack, what's the official name? DreamHack Atlanta Collegiate Invitational. I have to learn that name by the time October rolls around. So I'll be there. I'll be there. What's up, Ty? I see you're not signed up with NKU in the CCS registration. Are you coming back to play Rocket League just for the SEL, or what's going on? Oh, there's Dylan. I didn't think that would update on the main screen. All right, fair enough. I'm just gonna bring him in a second. All right, everybody, give me 1 second. I'm gonna undef him. We're gonna see if Dylan's ready. This is the kind of scuff production I run at State of the SEL. All right, I'm unmuting in Discord. Dylan, are you here?
Yep.
All right,
I'm
you
here.
popped up on screen to like scare everybody for a second, so I knew you were kind of ready. But how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm happy to be here. It's been a good day so far. I just had a good 3 session with Shaka and Curry. I think we went like +2 over like 12 games, but it was fun. It was fun.
All right, +2 isn't bad. But I'm gonna do some production stuff real fast. So for those that don't know Dylan, he just became famous on Twitter as Reddles has given him the get out of jail free card when it comes to blaming teammates for the rest of his life. Dylan, you wanna tell everybody what happened? Was that today or yesterday?
I think it was today. So I mean, Flitz is obviously a Kennesaw player, so I've been getting cool with him. Play with Flitz. We win games. We got a mutual respect for each other. We're cool. And Flitz was talking about me in a video that Reddles was doing. Him and Reddles were doing 2v2 versus Grand Champs until they lose or something of that nature. And Flitz was basically talking about how the difference between Grand Champ 1 and a Grand Champ 3 and then the Grand Champ 3 to an SSL. And he was kind of gassing me saying, you know, he should be SSL, but he's not. I don't know why he's not. I know why I'm not because I miss. But Flitz thinks I should be SSL, which means that I think I should be SSL. And then Reddles was like, hey, if you're GC3 and you're not SSL, it's your teammate's fault. So I think that's all there is to it.
So in other words, I feel bad for Drake and Joel at KSU because like it's your teammate's fault now if you guys don't do well this season.
Yeah, that's just the way it'll be this season, unfortunately. I can't possibly do anything wrong, so.
All right. Well, I think I've got you set up. I'm gonna bump down this graphic I've got on screen real fast. But okay, that is not set up. Never mind. All right. So Dylan, real quick, talk about who you are as a player as well. For those that may not know you, and I'm curious about the transfer from Georgia State now to KSU. Talk me through that process and how KSU's been so far.
So if anybody doesn't know me, I'm Dylan. I am a collegiate Rocket League player, obviously. I originally started at Georgia State. I was a sub for the A team. Well, we only had one team, but I was a sub for the main team. And throughout the season, around March-ish, we made a switch to have me become starter in place of one of our guys, Shady. And we switched me over to starter. We made a good run in lowers in the SEL qualifiers to make LAN. Then we ended up making top 4 at SEL LAN. We made top 2 at the MomoCon Showdown. We only lost to Kennesaw A, and we got second place at Ball LAN, which was the LAN that UTK hosted. I mean, those are all amazing teams. You know, I'm not surprised that we lost to them, but it was still an awesome experience to get to play with those guys and switch from a substitute to a main player. And with that, I got a lot of experience, met a lot of good people. I've been practicing a whole bunch, and when I ended up transferring over to Kennesaw State, went to tryouts, balled out, did my thing, and ended up getting captain position of the varsity B team. And so now I've been kind of working with my guys, getting us started, getting into the flow of season and scrims, learning all that stuff. But it's been awesome. I mean, Kennesaw as a school has been great. It's a beautiful campus, super nice, very, it feels very like welcoming and warm. So I enjoy all my time being on campus, and yeah, it's been awesome so far. I also moved out to my own first apartment too.
Yo!
So I'm on my own for the first time as well. It's been an awesome transition.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, my hometown, for those that don't know, is Kennesaw, so I will agree with you. It is a very pretty town. So I'm glad to see it. I know you guys have gotten registered for the SEL, so thank you for being on top of that and getting through all the League OS bugs. But okay. For some reason your cam's not working. I don't know what's going on right now. So if you could like leave the room and then rejoin it, see if that fixes it. 'Cause it's being weird right now. But we're gonna do a recap of the season 4 of the SEL. There we go. Actually, all right. I may be able to, if I stall just a little bit longer. Okay, I can get you on screen. Oh my word. All right. So for right now, I'm just gonna skip around because it's my show. But I've got the qualifiers and draw show format. Dylan, have you gotten a chance to look at the SEL format for the season yet?
Somewhat. I took a quick glance at it, and I understood that there would be 16 really good teams that would be, you know, in their own tier, and then majority of the rest would be in the bottom tier, and then they would kind of be like the bottom tier could play into a tournament with the top tier. Am I understanding that correctly?
All right, so we'll get to that in a second. I'm still messing with my cams. All right, it's gonna be scuffed for a bit, and that's just okay. All right, back to our faces for a sec. Oh man, now you've moved off to the side. Look, I don't know what OBS is doing right now. This is crazy. I had this all figured out for last season, and then I come into the first show of the season, and it looks like this. All right, well, we're gonna roll with this for now. I think we are. we can talk, all right, and that's what matters. I hope audio levels are good. But there's Dylan. For those that don't know what he looks like,
Guys.
But all right, so I'm gonna skip to the format real quick because I've got graphics for it. Fred, or I guess John made these. Fred is our commissioner. For those that are new to the SEL. He had them commissioned, so shout out to Fred for that. But John made these. He's our graphic designer. Does a wonderful job. And this is what the format is for Season 5. Qualifiers and draw show, and now they're over the overlay. So this is week 0, essentially. For those that don't know, the qualifier for the SEL is the first Wednesday of September. So make sure you are available that night, please. Or hope that we don't reach 64 teams playing in the SEL, because then you'll still get a spot. But we'd rather everybody is able to play in the qualifier to get seeded into one of 2 divisions. We've split the SEL into 2 divisions, the Division 1 and Division 2. We didn't get creative with the names or anything. But Division 1 is going to be the top 16 teams like Dylan was mentioning, and then the rest of the field, hopefully 48 teams, will be in Division 2. So once the qualifier is over, we'll take those teams, do the same draw show we did last year where I get my Bepic hat, I have all your team names in the hat, and then randomly I'll pick team names and put you into your groups, which is what you see on the right side of that graphic. So 2 groups for Division 1, 8 teams each. And then Division 2 is going to have 6 groups of 8 teams each, which brings us into the main season. Group progressions. We have our pools, and this will be somewhat similar to what we've done in previous seasons with the top 2 in Division 1 groups. They will get a bye straight into a playoff bracket. Playoffs will be double elimination, just like seasons past. And then seeds 3 and 4 will also get into the playoffs, but they won't receive a bye into. Okay, they go to playoffs. I don't know why it says bye, but bottom half of the groups in Tier 1 will have to play a last chance qualifier with the top 4 seeds coming out of groups in Division 2. And the last chance qualifier, this is where it gets serious, Dylan, and I do want your opinion on this as well. The last chance qualifier is going to be 32 teams, and it's going to be a single elimination bracket with the rest of the field that didn't make it into the playoffs, which would be 8 teams qualifying for the playoff bracket with those Tier 1 teams. And then seeds 5 through 8 will be eliminated. So last chance qualifier got seriously cutthroat.
I mean, wow. Okay, well, I mean, that's kind of interesting to think about. I mean, that makes league play all the more valuable. I mean, because, you know, some teams can have miracle runs in playoffs, but I mean, it seems like you kind of need to be balling out every single series to really give yourself a chance at making playoffs, especially if you're in a Tier 2 pool, where if I understand that correctly, is if you make 5th through 8 in your pool, you just don't make you just don't get a chance at lower or last chance.
Yeah. So you need to repeat your question. Hold on, I was reading Discord. Say that
again.
Okay.
If I understand it correctly, if you're in a Tier 2 pool, if you're a 5th through 8th seed in that pool, you don't have a chance at last chance qualifier at all. So that you're just completely done.
Yeah, you're done.
Then
you gotta be top half of your group in D2.
Okay, and then even if you're 1 through 4, even if you're first seed in your pool, you still have to make last chance qualifier.
Yeah.
To make that. And then, to my understanding, if you're the first seed in a tier 2 pool, but you're playing against, would it be a 3 through 4 or 5 through 8 in tier 1?
So tier 1, 5 through 8 are the ones playing in the last chance qualifier.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to envision a situation like this. Like, imagine, like, my guys, we do really good in league play. Let's say we're second seed in our pool. We make last chance qualifier, and for some god awful reason, we see UTK in fourth or in 5th through 8th, and we're playing a single elim bracket against them. I mean, that's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
But it does increase the level of competition. It makes the matches more valuable, and I can respect that aspect of it, of course.
Yeah, and that's what we're going for: entertainment and a way to expand the league without like forcing UTK, for example, to play a team of GC1s or GC2s. Right. So hopefully splitting it up works out. That's what the aim is at the moment, is to split things up and keep that entertainment, keep teams happy. But we'll talk more about the format as the season gets along. What I really want to talk about is recapping the Season 4 LAN real fast. We're gonna talk through that because we skipped over that while I was messing with the cams. So I'm gonna put the bracket up on screen again. As always, shout out Chipmunk Man for being our resident Liquipedia guy.
Oh.
But this was our Season 4 LAN. UTK, the reigning champs. Dylan, you guys, did you get to play them at all last season?
We played them at Voland, where they swept us in the finals.
Okay, that was in the finals at Voland. Right, all right. So yeah. you got a taste of what UTK looked like adding Crisp. And I mean, we'll talk about roster changes later, but they've gotten even scarier. And I mean, this was our 8 teams, 6 of them qualifying with points. 7 and 8 were invites as a result of a couple teams dropping out. But Lennon was hype. I mean, that was the peak of the season, and it's meant to be the peak of the season, Dylan. And like the matches were good, had several game 5s in the brackets, and just overall the experience was legendary.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely stellar to be there. It was a super fun experience. The teams that were there were super, like, everything about it was just awesome. It was great vibes all around. The games were super good. They were close. I mean, you look at FSU and UAH going to 5 down there. You see us going to 5 against Georgia, and then we ended up reverse sweeping King in the lower quarters to make top 4, which I don't think a lot of people had us making top 4. And I mean, realistically, if you look at it, I mean, it could have been top 4, could have been, UTK, Bruton Parker, Kentucky King, those 3, and then maybe FSU instead. Like, it could have been any of us, but we ended up getting to that part. And then obviously, UTK sweeping the LAN is, impressive in itself. I mean, those guys were putting on a clinic to every team they played against.
Yeah, and I mean, they didn't drop a single game on LAN. And this was our format, double elim bracket in LAN. And this was the playoff bracket for the spring as well, with Tennessee winning the spring semester. So those massive double elim brackets, we're sticking to something similar this season, Dylan, at least for the fall split, depending on how the format works out. I mean, talk about what it's like as a player, because our double elim brackets are spread out across several weeks. Like, what's it like having to go through this bracket across several weeks of play?
Honestly, it brings it's a mixture, because you can have a really good day during bracket, but it could be, winners round 1 or lowers round 1, and you're like, okay, cool, we played really well, but you gotta wait a week to play. But at the same time, you have a series like, I mean, if you look down there where we almost got swept by East Carolina, we had to reverse sweep them. Like, had we had to play another match right after that, we probably would have, been doing a little bit better because of that kind of momentum that we had. But at the same time, it also gives you a chance to regroup, rethink, gives you time to practice, kind of collect yourself throughout the season. And I enjoyed the pacing of it a lot.
Yeah, and that is something like our playoff teams get the full season experience, whereas a lot of, like, half half the league, I believe, in the new format, maybe a third of the league is going to be dropped out in the first 4 weeks of play, which sucks a little bit. So if you are in that echelon of the SEL, you'll probably get in some Tuesday Night Lights invites, because I like keeping the name consistent throughout the season. But you do have to show up and make sure, because playing 2 matches in one night, are there ever nights, Dylan, for you guys, and I guess in past seasons, where it's like your first series is extremely intense and you have to turn around and play your next series right after that, and it does affect your gameplay?
I mean, the first thing I thought of was Volan. I mean, we were going into that, and we're in the playoff bracket, and we're playing up against the Kentucky retirement home team.
Yeah.
Which was they were a scary squad. They were getting stuff done. And so we're playing them, and we're putting all on there. We get the win, and then we're like, okay, now we have to play UTK, and it's kind of like it's two sides. It's like, okay, we just beat this really talented team. We have a chance to carry this momentum forward, but it's also like, oh my God, we just expended so much energy climbing up this mountain, and now there's another one. You know what I'm saying? But it can be a mixture of both.
All right, fair enough. I was like getting the player insight into that sort of thing. But I also want to get another sort of player insight on our roster changes this season, because there are a ton of teams that are either new to the league entirely or introducing new players to the league as well. And I've tossed, Kennesaw State, I put up there just you, Dylan, because it's been a minute since KSU actually had a contender in the league. So Kennesaw State, Florida International signed up, Jacksonville State, Huntington College, which is the team that I coach. For those that don't know that, we're joining the league. So a lot of new faces. It's awesome getting new teams in the league, and I put a list in our DMs, so I'm gonna pull that up. Because as far as I know, and because of the League OS errors or not getting signed up or waiting for rosters to be revealed, whatever it is, I don't know every single team, but James Madison is another one. For those that follow the CCS, they're a really good team that play in that league. Texas State has signed up, and Arkansas Little Rock. Dylan, I don't know anything about Arkansas Little Rock. Do you know anything about them by chance?
I would be lying if I said I knew anything about
Okay, fair enough.
And that's unfortunate, but I would love to get to know them. Of course, I'm always down to meet new teams, new players, coordinate with that. So if you guys are watching, and if you go to Arkansas Little Rock, reach out to me. Can 100% get you involved with some stuff. But yeah, I don't know anything about them.
All right, fair enough. Me neither. We'll figure it out. That's what the beginning of the season is for. So we won't spend too much time on Arkansas Little Rock. But shout out to them for getting signed up. They were one of the first teams that was actually listed on League OS. But Jack State, they're a team that plays in the CCS. They're a team I'm familiar with, playing in the state of Alabama. And for those that know UAB, they're actually playing with Neno. He used to go to JSU several years ago, transferred to UAB, and now he's transferred back to Jack State. So they did fairly well in the CCS. I think they played close with Florida International. What's that face about?
Am I thinking of the right Jack State that played Colorado, or am I thinking of a different?
No, that's them. Was it the Game 7 that took Colorado too?
The streets will never forget that Game 7 with Jack State. They got iced. Somebody's computer, I don't remember whose it was, but somebody's computer went down for like 10 minutes, and they're about to have to call DQ on them. But I think anybody who was watching was rooting for Jack State. Because having them go to 7, with the eventual winners of that playoff bracket, that was something, man. It was awesome. So shout outs to them. Yeah,
and Jack State, I think, has gotten an upgrade as well with Neno returning. And they played on my stream a couple of nights ago. I guess that was last week. But they didn't look great against the old UAH Blue roster. But once the season gets going, I believe in them. Going to 7 against Colorado. And Sheetavell is in chat right now. He's now their manager. He's saying sad face. They can pull upsets. That's a team that really can pull upsets. I don't know if I'd have them flagged as a potential Division 1 team, but I think they can be a last chance qualifier squad that could make a run. And then Texas State, you played against them, I believe, with Buds. Were they in your conference in CCS?
Texas State is that Bobcats?
Yeah, Bobcats.
Yeah, Bobcats. Bobcats was solid. I believe we went to 5 with them at some point. That's definitely a solid team. I think we're playing Texas State in our CCS match for Kennesaw Black for our first week. So yeah, definitely solid team. Got a lot of respect for them. They'll be another good GC2, GC3 lowest SEL contending team.
So I think I put them like close to Jack State in terms of where I'd have them in the SEL. At least right now, it'll be interesting seeing them play against SEL teams. Huntington College, I'll talk about them. It's their logo in the top left of the screen. I'm their coach. And we're 2 GC2s and a GC3 this season. So I'm looking forward. If you want scrim partners around like 1650, 1700, I would like to scrim as many SEL teams as possible because it's nice being able to scrim familiar faces. So we're 2 freshmen and a sophomore on the A team. I honestly don't know how we're gonna do, but I had to get him in the SEL, give him that experience, get him playing with you guys. So reach out to me on Discord. I'm plugging me as a coach. If you want
Coach Pep,
if you want scrim partners, because I would be totally down. So that's Huntington College. We're the Hawks. We'll see you in competition, and then big one. Kennesaw State B team. You've already talked about them a little bit. Dylan, Drake, and Droll. You guys have gone to what, Game 7 twice on my stream? No, he went to Game 6 against Kentucky.
Was it 6 or 5? I don't remember.
That was
probably
like
the worst series I've ever played. That was something. But yeah, no, we went to 7 with Clemson. Yeah, that was a solid series. I mean, yeah, we're getting into the swing of things. We actually just appointed Flitz as our kind of coach for the moment. So we just spent like a couple hours practicing yesterday. We got some good insight. So excited for the season for sure. It's gonna be awesome.
Heck yeah, I'm excited to watch you guys play. I went to high school with Drake, so it's kind of like a full circle thing to see him playing in the SEL now. It's a weird crossover of my real life to my esports life, but I'm excited to see KSU actually be up there with competition. Because typically they've put like a C or a D team in the SEL, and they've gotten good experience, maybe taking a game or 2 here or there in groups, but never as far as I think you guys will go. So I'm excited to have the Owls back.
I am as well. I think we have our B, C, and D team signed up this semester.
Nice.
The A team, they don't do things like this, unfortunately. I tried really hard to get them in here. I wanted to have us all, but they're kind of like, yeah, we're gonna focus on like lands, and then we'll just do our own thing because that's what they do, and that's okay. They're allowed to do that.
Yeah, fair enough.
We'll try our best this season.
I know Flitz is a busy guy, so I can't blame him too much for not playing in the SEL, especially when he's got everything else going on, and I'm sure the other 2 are as well. But other big additions, I'll shout them out because I just saw it in chat. We got East Tennessee joining the league, and as soon as Skyline transferred from Cumberland to East Tennessee State, I knew that they would be joining the SEL. It was like the first thing I asked him about his transfer. So ETSU, that's a potential Division I team in my eyes. I think they're solid. I think that you guys were ranked number 10 in the CCS opening poll. So solid roster. Have had some hiccups. They got 4-1 by George Mason, another SEL edition on my stream last week on Tuesday Night Lights. But I mean, George Mason and East Tennessee, both solid additions to the SEL.
Yeah, and Bepic, we're gonna have to get to the elephant in the room eventually, man.
Yeah.
I think it's time we talk about him.
Okay.
UTK.
Okay.
UTK.
Oh, right, UTKB, right, new B team joining the SEL. And we got Shaka leading the charge with Agonize and Kung. You're right, Dylan. That was the elephant in the room. I know everyone's hyped about UTKB.
I mean, you should be, honestly. I mean, think about it. We just got a LAN winner, and then he just moved down to a B team, and he's still got, like, mid-1800 teammates, too, that are only getting better. I mean, like, that's going to be...
SEL LAN runner-up in Agonize, and BBB LAN winner in Agonize.
Right. So I mean, it's gonna be special watching them. I mean, this may be bold, but like, given the time, they probably could be Division I, realistically. I mean, that's a good team. We played them, and they're solid for sure. So UTK White, that's gonna be something fierce for sure.
All right, what's the real elephant in the room that you wanna announce, that if someone's living under a rock they may not have heard of yet, but the big transfer, or not even transfer, the big pickup of the season. He's a freshman. Go ahead.
Tybu. TYBU.
Learn
The
the name.
newest member of the UTK Orange team. That brother just won the entire Rumble championship that the RLCS put on. I mean, this kid moves different. And UTK was already scary enough. I mean, they swept SEL land with Caden, or Chalk, if you guys don't know. And Caden's an amazing player in himself, but then you grab somebody who's this caliber of Tybu, and you slot that in with Cody and Joe. I mean, that's just like that's an insane roster to watch out for. I mean, I can't think of any teams that are possibly, contenders for them. I mean, they're going to run people's pockets. And for the Division 1 teams that end up being in their bracket or in their pool, I wish you guys the best of luck, because that's a scary team.
Yeah, I'm expecting them to be Division 1, kind of helping run the show. Maybe just running it outright by themselves. They 4-1 Shawnee State on my stream last week. That was a surprising result, because I knew they were good, but coming up short in summer series, didn't see them for a little while, and then they do that on stream. Beat Michigan State as well a couple of weeks prior. UTK is looking good right now, and
yeah, for sure.
That is a crazy thing that they're that good as a club program, and KSU's in the same boat. I mean, you guys having Flitz is unbelievable as a club program. Like it's so awesome seeing the club program versus the varsity program rivalries continue to develop all these years into collegiate esports. It's still playing at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, it really does suck. I mean, you think of a school as big as UTK, like that's a massive SEC school. And I feel like if they just gave like 25% attention to the teams that they have, they'd have such a big opportunity on their hands, because where UTK is at right now, they're able to build a legacy. Like, people will know their name for a while in the collegiate scene, and they'll think, hey, this team offers scholarship, maybe I'd want to go here. And same thing with Kennesaw too. Like, Kennesaw is rapidly growing in size, like UGA, all these massive schools. It's like, if they could just get some money, like, I think everybody would be happy. No, like, right? I
mean, as fancy as their library, I think they're still in the library, their game room setup. I know they used to be in the library for sure, and I've seen videos of their new setups. But as fancy as it is, I would love to see the like some real administrative support. But it's hype. It's hype. I can't wait to watch UTK this season. But we also got to mention James Madison is another team that is more than likely joining the league, and that is a rival I know you're familiar with, Dylan, playing for Buds this season. What are your thoughts on JMU with Gad and the boys joining?
I mean, those are talented players in themselves, and it sucks that we could never pull it out against them. But I mean, that's exciting to have another just really good, solid up there team joining the SEL. I'm glad that names like that are starting to bring exposure to us, and I hope that it kind of translates and carries on. We see more teams joining, but it would be awesome. But yeah, it's good to see those guys in here as well.
Yep, it's going to be a fun season. It just keeps getting more and more stacked. I did a bit of recruiting. I wanted a really stacked Division 1, and I mean Division 2 at a lower level is still going to be stacked. And talking about some individual roster changes as well. We mentioned Tybu. That's really the big one. Cumberland, I believe, is still going to be playing in the league, but they have changed their roster completely. And I'm not sure who the starting 3 is just yet, so I won't talk about that. But Skyline, ETSU, we mentioned him transferring. Super Smurf at Radford now. They're not playing in the SEL. It didn't align with their schedule, sadly. I really wanted Smurf and Rhyolite to play in the SEL. But Radford's a great program as well, and if you're playing in like NECC, I believe that's where they're playing as well. So you're probably going to see them around the block in qualifiers and stuff, because Rhyolite is terrifying, and I really wish he was playing in the SEL.
Yeah, man, it would be great to see them playing here, but I understand, everybody doesn't have the free time to do all the leagues that they would like to, but hopefully maybe in some future timeline we get them in here. That'd be awesome. Just have them come represent, see what they can do.
And Joe is saying it's Greed, Aurora, and the End of You. Thank you, Joe Bro.
Okay.
I hadn't looked at their
That's my
starting
goat.
3 yet. So, appreciate that. That's who's starting for Cumberland, which is still a good team. Aurora is an SEL veteran. The End of You, I know, has been on Cumberland Black for the last several semesters. And Greed, I'm not sure I've heard of. I'll have to look into that and talk about it on a future SEL episode. And the Magic as well from the old Cumberland roster. Going to Rochester Christian. They're playing on Tuesday Night Lights tonight, but they are unfortunately out of region for the SEL. So we won't have Magic anymore, sadly. He's probably playing in Great Lakes. So our brothers over on the northern side of Collegiate Rocket League. And then another big one. The University of Florida got hammy crackers, Dylan. They got hammy.
Yeah, they got hammy. I mean, I wouldn't say it was actually like a shocking transfer, but that is like okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because Florida was one of those like coin toss teams where it's like they're either gonna ball out and go crazy or they're gonna be, just a middle of the pack team. But I mean, you add Hammy to a team like that already had that swing potential.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a pretty threatening team, especially if they've been working together this offseason. Yeah, I'm excited to see them play.
Yeah, I know they have, because I've been trying to get them on Tuesday Night Lights, and they were on vacation for a good bit of August, but now they're back, and they're playing on Tuesday Night Lights tonight, actually immediately following the State of the SEL. So it's Florida versus Nebraska. It's going to be a good best of 7. The entirety of Tuesday Night Lights tonight is absolutely stacked. But talking still about roster changes, FAU losing Hammy Crackers. Maybe we get some insight on this. I know Lil Stan is in Twitch chat right now. Stan, have the Owls announced a starting 3 yet? Because I assume like Damage, Mitra, and you would be the starting 3, but I don't want to guess that. So FA, losing Hammy is a blow for sure, but they can still do, I think, some damage in Division 2 sure. with those 3.
Yeah, I agree for sure. They're still solid players all around. And another team I'm so distraught about is FSU's. FSU's graduated.
I know. Time gets us all. It's so sad because Luigi and Fries have fully graduated from FSU, so they're gone. They are SEL alum now. And Trix, I don't believe, is playing. I think he's a super senior done for the fall. Yeah, I think he's done as well.
Yeah, he'd been wanting to quit for a while.
Yeah, and he stuck it out for us, which we're appreciative of.
We're thankful for sure. Yeah, they balled out. Love those guys, but yeah, it sucks to see them go. As well as Kentucky losing Apples. Apples is a big staple in like the Southeast Rocket League community. So seeing him graduate, they balled out of SEL and got second place. It's super hard to beat that UTK team, but I believe the only team they lost to was UTK. I think UTK beat them in uppers, and they just did the things all the way there. And yeah, it's a sad loss, but I know Kentucky's been cooking, so they'll still be around for sure.
And I don't know, again, Chip, I think, was in chat earlier. You might be able to confirm this, but is Wada the new 3rd? I know Huds and Chipmunk Man are still competing for Kentucky, so we'll get confirmation on that at some point. But Lil Stan says it's going to be him, Skies, and No Look Deadshot. And I know No Look Deadshot subbed in, and so did Skies, I believe, have both subbed in at some point in the SEL for FAU. Mitra is going to be the sub. So, all right, gotcha. FAU is going to be mostly new look, but still spearheaded by the Stan Goat. So I'm looking forward to what the Owls can do. Kentucky as well. You guys played a new variation of them without Apples, 4-1 or 4-2. I should be able to remember Tuesday Night Lights results.
I didn't even want to talk about that series.
Yeah, we won't talk about it.
We didn't even got to talk about it.
But Bruton Parker, another team at the top of the SEL last season, they are getting Milk back. And I don't believe he was in the starting lineup for more than like 1 or 2 series in the SEL last spring. But I know their starting lineup overall is going to be Manny, Antics, and Milk. And Sino is too good a player to sit on the bench the whole season, so I'd imagine they have some kind of rotation in some sort of way. But that's a big... He was supposed to transfer to Cumberland, but ended up coming back to Bruton Parker. So that's a scary team with returning, I believe, all 3 members from their CRL roster last fall.
probably right there. You know, I wasn't too familiar with CRL going into last fall. I didn't really start getting super into it until springtime. But yeah, I mean, Burton Parker, they were balling out no matter who they put on the starting roster. But yeah, definitely having Milk back on there. That's a good weapon to have in their arsenal, and they'll be 100% Division One.
Yeah, they're gonna be good. It's a redemption for Bruton Parker after just missing out on the land, getting invited back, and then making third with a completely different variation of their roster. And that was probably one of the runs of SEL history, like coming in with three fresh-ist players. I didn't mean that in a bad way, just like it's a run that won't be remembered because it wasn't to the grand final or something like that, but it was a phenomenal run. Sino and Milk leading that team, Agni stepping in, great run.
Yeah.
But for confirmation, okay, Wada is probably not the starter. It's the bombist for Kentucky. Okay, that makes sense. His name slipped my mind. But Wada is subbing. Okay. And then we got to talk about as well. Rose is in chat. Buds had to fill the massive shoes of their former captain. Dylan, I've seen Buds play already with Rose subbing in. I think that was their debut with that roster. Have you gotten a chance to... Actually, you've scrimmed them. You told me that. How are they looking?
Yeah. I mean, they're looking super solid. They're still getting into the flow of things, but there were some goals that they scored on us that I'm just like, all right, guys, you know what? You can have. Super solid team for sure. I think the scrim ended up going even 3-3. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So we went 3-3, but super solid team right now. They're definitely getting their work in, and they're gonna be great. I mean, you know, they're gonna have way more time to develop and improve than I think that us three had. And you know, I mean, you kind of saw the effects that we had in just the little time we had. But imagine 2 semesters with them. Yeah. I realistically think they could probably make Division One. I mean, they're super solid. Monk has been balling like crazy. I know Buddy's been practicing a whole bunch, so super excited to see those guys playing again. Rose, another black man in the community, lovely to see. It's been great. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a team. They didn't look good, and I'll say this straight. They didn't look good against Nichols College when they played on Tuesday Night Lights, but that was their debut. And Buddy has told me he feels like they can achieve similar levels of success with Rose in the lineup that they had with you, Dylan. So that's going to be a good team. Buds at GSU. And then UNC Charlotte. I was told by Big Man, their coach, that they had 8 either GC3s or SSLs try out, which I am extremely jealous of. I wish we had that to work with at Huntington. But I believe, from what I've heard, their starting lineup is going to be Bala, Lazy, and Knight, which, again, not confirmed. That's what I've heard for CCS. But Bala joining Lazy and Knight, that's a D1 team in my eyes.
That is a 100% D1 team. That is I mean, yeah, Joe, I was talking with Joe about it, and he mentioned them. I was like, okay, that went from a team that's like, okay, that's a pretty solid team. They could definitely make like a lower end of D1, and that went into like, all right, they're gonna make D1. That's just how it is, for sure.
How'd that scrim go, Joe? I if you don't mind divulging the results, I'm not pressuring you, but I'm curious what UNCC's looking like against you guys. That's a pretty good basis. You won the 7-1. Okay, fair enough. That's
I mean,
I can see why you were so quick to divulge that. But all right, we'll see how UNCC develops then. South Carolina next up. And this is I don't know. In my DMs I put they lost AUG. That's not true. Solar is the player that they've lost. They're not playing with AUG tonight on Tuesday Night Lights, which is probably what I was thinking. But SJT is stepping up from USC Garnet to fill the shoes of Solar, who has graduated, and it's going to be, I think, a similar South Carolina team. I think SJT can fill the role of Solar fairly well, but Cats, AUG, and SJT is still a pretty good team. I think they'll be around the same level, Dylan.
I agree. I mean, they were a solid team beforehand. Even though we swept them on land, but I'm kidding. But yeah, no, they were still a super solid team. And SJT, I definitely think he has the potential to be, able to fill Solar's shoes. And that team could do some damage. I mean, you don't really know. I mean, because we know Og is a very solid player, and if he, is 100% locked in on the scrims and the gameplay and everything, they could probably be really solid. So,
I mean, they were very close to being a LAN team last season, and probably should be. I think the bracket kind of screwed them in a couple of places where they weren't able to make it to LAN. But I think they could be in a similar spot. And then we're running out of time, like I always do on State of the SEL. So we're gonna run through these last roster changes fairly quickly. But this is a fairly big one. King has lost big weight. He is retired from Collegiate Rocket League. He put out a tweet that if I was a better host, I would have on hand to be able to put up on screen, but he has retired and they are replacing him with Disruptor. So Wade only played one season in the SEL, but he's been a huge personality in Collegiate Rocket League for a while now, and I am sad to see him go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, I feel like if anybody's in the SEL, everybody remembers the me versus Wade beef. But you know, time passed. We squashed that beef. I've got respect for him. You know, he no matter what me and him had an issue with. I mean, that guy was like you said, he was a great personality for the SEL. People knew him. He was fun. And yeah, and they're adding Disruptor, and I'm not familiar with Disruptor's game, but I know that. I mean, we know what Turbo's capable of.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how this team will do with adding a new player into that position. Maybe new motivations, new play styles. I'm not sure, but I'm excited to see them play.
So I think with Disruptor, Turbo is saying that he's a low GC at the moment. And I mean, Turbo and Echo are solid players, but they have a lot to work through. I think adding a new player that's on the lower end of the rank spectrum. So I think King's a Division 2 team, but that's a squad that could, again, pull upsets with, like we said, what Turbo's capable of.
Yeah.
Then UGA, they are still figuring out their third, I believe. I don't know if the roster change is official. Koopa Troopa, Wheeled Broom, and DJ TJ are going to be all on the roster, but they tried out Mirrored the other night on Tuesday Night Lights. So we'll see if that roster change actually ends up happening, so we won't talk about it too much right here. UAB adding a new third to replace Neno. Justin has told me they're confident with TNT Man stepping in. And then another Alabama and Georgia school, Auburn, has added a 1900 to their roster in Nile, which I don't know how many people have heard of Nile, but he's solid. I'm really hoping from a personal perspective that Auburn is really good this season, but I mean UGA, UAB, and Auburn I think are kind of around the same level right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's exciting to see how these new teams play though with these new rosters as well. It's gonna be a fun season, man. And I do like the amount of openness that they've got for the multiple divisions. I think playoff season is gonna be really rough, but you know, just league play in general is gonna be super fun.
It is. It really is. I can't wait for it. CCS and SEL running at the same time is going to be so hype. And a couple more transfers that the chat have reminded me of. We got a rumor that Cynical might be coming back to King, either the spring or the fall. I haven't heard about that either, Shaka. I haven't heard about that, Shaka. But we'll see.
Where's the
if
source,
that
man?
happens.
Let me know.
Yeah, that'd be big. That'd be big if that happens.
That would be. What do we think? Turbo, Cynical, and Echo, or just?
Yeah, Turbo, Cynical, and Echo. Yeah.
Oh boy.
We'll leave it at that. UAH, Space Captain, at the helm now, filling the shoes of Big Man B-More, who graduated as well, another legend of the SEL game. Josh, I believe, will be subbing for the A team. So it's going to be Space Captain and two others, as far as I am aware. I don't know if they've run tryouts yet. And B-More just popped up as well. B-More, the format is going to be 2 divisions. Top division is 16 teams. Second division will be 48 teams. Format is roughly similar to seasons past. And then Clemson is probably bringing back Darth Pepe, former B team guy that has skirted around the A team starting spot, I believe. So Mesao, Canovo, and Darth Pepe. Mesao's in chat, so he can definitely confirm this. But that's a good roster. I believe Mesao, you have to. Wheezy was injured. He broke a bone of some sort. So Wheezy, if you are out there listening, dude, speedy recovery. I hope you get better soon, because that sucks. But hey, Darth Pepe coming back to the starting lineup. That'll be fun for Clemson.
Yeah, for sure. I think we how much do we have to talk about our registration? I know the chat's
registration. I think I'm gonna skip over because I feel like the Hall of Fame thing. Registration.
Hall of Fame
okay,
is pretty cool.
Registration for those of you that aren't registered. go to sel.leagueos.gg and then click on register your team or open up a ticket in the SEL server. Fred will help you. He's a busy man, but he always finds time to help you with registration and get signed up. I know there are errors right now. I know there are errors with League OS. I don't know exactly what they are, but if you're dealing with that, then that's beyond my expertise. So good luck. But I do know the LOS guys are really responsive, and I will vouch for their website. I think it's good stuff. SEL matches are Wednesdays, Scanty. Also, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. But yeah, LOS is busted this semester. I don't know what's up. We'll get you all in. If we have to do it manually, we will, and get you guys in as the season starts, because it's coming up quick. Next week is the qualifier. But Wheezy's healed. All right, Maysal. Awesome. Well done, Wheezy. Way to get healed up. But that's registration. Dylan, do you have any comments about registration?
Nope.
Okay.
We know what we're here for.
All right. So, this is something I've cooked up. The SEL Hall of Fame. And I started talking about it with some staff members after last season's LAN. And let me see if I can pop up the rules. Oh, I didn't save the graphic. Okay. So I'm going to say them verbally, and I'll let Dylan express his opinion on them while I save the graphic and put it up on screen. But the SEL Hall of Fame is something I want to start doing because we've had enough seasons where we have had consistent players. Like, B-More played essentially his entire RL career in ASEL. Snipes too, Bono as well. And so this is going to be a new thing. Hall of Fame inductees, there will be 5 each year. And the requirements I have set, and this is what I'm probably rolling with. I like opinions though. 4 semesters of SEL play. You must no longer be active. And so that means, like, if you're still in school, you're not eligible yet. You have to have graduated and be gone from the SEL. And you must have at least 1 LAN qualification or top 8. In your SEL career. And if you were a substitute for any of your semesters, I think sub-semesters do count towards your 4 semesters played, but you have to have started for at least 2 semesters. And then you must have achieved a top 8 as a starter to be eligible. So those are my requirements. Dylan, what you thinking?
Well, so, I mean, that's understandable. It's a smart basis. I mean, first thing I think of is limiting it to 5 people is kind of like I don't know, in my opinion at least. I mean, because if I'm just thinking of people that have just graduated, so we got Apples, I feel like he should automatically be included. The entire FSU roster of Fries, Luigi, and Trix. I mean, those guys beating King in 7, that's huge. So that's 4. And then I immediately think that Big Wade should be in there. I mean, Big Wade was a massive like personality for the community, and I feel like the SEL is super community based, and I think that, you know, of course, you know, player like top 8 and LAN, that totally makes sense. But I feel like, you know, even outside of individual performance as a player, I think that personality, like, people see that person and they're just happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an impactful member of the community. B-More as well, 100%. B-More is included in there. I think Ty should be on there. I mean, if Ty continues or ends up still not playing anymore, you know, there are players that'll be in there that I think more people, or I think there should be more opportunities for people to get in there. Since it's not necessarily entirely based performance, if that makes sense. But, you know, and I think 4 semesters played is fine. I think that, what is that, 2 years of playing the SEL? I think that's valid.
Yeah.
And definitely for players. For teams, I feel like we could maybe cook something up where we make iterations of teams kind of hop into the Hall of Fame. Like, I feel like no matter what happened, like if for some reason UTK busts, like the Crisp Joe Shaka team should be Hall of Fame. Like that should be always remembered. And like, not to like toot my own horn, but I think that like my iteration with the Buds, I feel like that was an impactful team. Like, people knew us. It was a fun thing. It was very community like oriented. So I feel like we should just, you know, open up more opportunities like that for Hall of Fame.
I do like the team idea, because this is just players. I guess I should have prefaced that. But this is just a Players Hall of Fame, and I mean it's gonna be like a role in the Discord and just legend of the SEL type of thing. But I like that team's idea. I'm gonna have to look into that. So at the moment, I'm just revealing the requirements tonight, so you all can stew and think about who you would think should be in the Hall of Fame, and that will be revealed either next week on State of the SEL or during our draw show. I haven't quite decided yet. Probably the draw show, since that's on the main SEL channel, and our draw show will be after the qualifiers happened. But some of you are listing players that aren't inactive yet, so just keep that in mind, that you do have to be like graduated. Like for example, Ty is not eligible yet because he's still potentially active, and if he's not competing on the team, he still could be active. Like at any time he could be called up to the starting roster. Like Josh isn't eligible yet. Trix isn't eligible, even if he is done with the game and has moved on. So that does make an impact. But those are the requirements. And I don't have it listed about the whole sub-semesters count towards the 4, but you have to have started for 2. Because we have had a lot of players like be subs at the start of their SEL careers. And then later on, gain some notoriety. So I think that's an important stipulation. But that's what the SEL Hall of Fame is. And we'll be revealing that later on before the season starts, and I'm excited to kind of spearhead that project. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like the whole concept of a Hall of Fame for the SEL would be so dope. I mean, because like I was saying earlier, this is such a community-based thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like in terms of leagues, like this still feels like a lot of people are friends, a lot of people are cool, a lot of events feel so fun because of the people. And so 100%, just like, even if it's not like the NBA Hall of Fame, you're not, it's not like people are gonna be looking at museums, but like, people are gonna think about it and like remember you like in the future, even if like they don't play Rocket League competitively anymore. They'll just, be like, hey, notable guy. So I think it's super dope. I think it's a great idea, Mr. Bepic.
Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining me on the State of the SEL tonight. We have to wrap things up. Got Tuesday Night Lights starting here in 4 minutes time. So I'm going to go over the schedule real fast. We're starting off 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central with Florida. That Hammy Crackers led Florida against Nebraska. It's going to be hype. It's a preview of 2 top 20 teams in the CCS preseason poll. So I'm very excited about this one. And then 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I know we had some issues with scheduling. If you're in my tournament server and you saw General, I think this one's still going to be happening at 8 Eastern Time, but San Diego State and Bruton Parker, it's a CCA Summer Series West playoff team against Bruton Parker, who in the stacked East couldn't make playoffs. So I'm excited to see like where the West stands. I think Bruton Parker is a good litmus test coming out of the East to play against a West team. And then after that, UTK-B, so UTK White, Kong, Agonize, and Shaka playing against their age-old rivals in the South Carolina Gamecocks, their first appearance on stream with SJT filling in for Solar. And then we're capping off the night with Rochester Christian versus Siena Heights. Dylan, real quick, thoughts on the Tuesday Night Lights lineup, and then we'll have to go to a break.
I'm excited to see it. I mean, I feel like, getting to see Hammy play with Florida is going to be awesome. I think, like you said, Bruton Parker is going to be a great test against the West. I feel like there's a bit of bias skewed towards that side of the country, and I feel like if we can just get a team to kind of, put them in their place, that'd be kind of cool. UTK White, they're going to ball out. I mean, got my goat, Shaka, Zach, Agonize. It's gonna be a great match to watch, especially getting to see the new USC team as well with SJT stepping up. That's gonna be super fun. And of course, Rochester Christian and Siena Heights is just gonna be a really tight clash. So it's gonna be super fun. Gonna be a great night. Definitely be tuned in. We'll be watching. And yeah, Bepic, appreciate you having me on here. It's been a pleasure. It's been great talking about some college ball with you, as always. And thank you to everybody for watching.
Heck yeah, good first day of the SEL. Production was scuffed, and that's how we know this is actually state of the SEL and I've not been replaced by an alien, because that is the norm here. But I'm going to go to a quick break. I'll probably play a minute of ads, so I'm apologizing in advance for the advertisements. But Tuesday Night Lights number 4 starts in 2 minutes. I better hurry. Bye, everyone. See you in a second.